Working on another bus today. Today we have a school bus in the shop and the driver states that her dome lights don't work. Well, let's go ahead and verify the problem. As soon as I turn on the lights, they went completely out almost immediately. That's because we're getting some sort of short circuit and the circuit breaker is popping. More than likely they pop because they're getting way too hot. So let's go ahead and grab a special tool. This one is from Top Down. This is a thermal imager that's going to allow me to see what circuit is getting way too hot. And let's go ahead and verify. And you can see one of the circuit breakers is glowing red hot. That's going to be our circuit that is staying on and the circuit is popping. And that's going to be our light circuit. In comparison to all the other circuits, you can see all of them are cold except for those two. So we're going to go ahead and tap into that circuit. Of course, there are 3 wires, so we're going to go ahead and verify which one has the short and using the ECT 3000. And you can see these 2 wires here have a short. Part of the ECT 3000 kit is the receiver, so let's go ahead and grab our receiver and lock into that signal. The ECT 3000, once you tap into a circuit, sends a frequency, and you use the receiver to find that frequency, let alone find a short or an open. Now this harness actually runs through the channeling of the bus, and then it runs through the whole side of the bus all the way to the back. So once we lock in that signal, we're able to verify with our ECT 3000 receiver, and it'll basically follow that signal and it'll pretty much tell you when it changes direction. This one was leading right to this light, so I ended up taking the light bulb out just to verify that there wasn't a short at that light. Then I continued on and it did direct me towards the rear of the bus. And you guys can see here that it's actually changing direction, but we do have a few wires that lead to the rest of the lights. And well, more than likely our short is going to be near the roof. So what I end up doing is actually isolating which wire it is. And once I find it, and it looks like to be this gray wire, I went ahead and cut the wire just to create an open to see if that was actually our circuit with our short. And I don't know if you guys can tell in the video, but the ECT 3000 went from a short to an open. So I pretty much know that we are on the right track in finding that short. So I went ahead and tapped our ECT 3000 and repaired that wire and continued on. Now, like I said, this wire goes through the roof, and lo and behold, this is where I found the problem. After removing the emergency door hatch, you can see that the wires actually runs through the channeling of the roof, through the emergency hatch, and here is where our short actually was. It was pinched between the channeling and that wire. Every time I would move this little wire, you could actually see the ECT 3000 pretty much going berserk, going from open to short, and making a beeping noise. So I'm pretty sure we've found our problem. I grabbed a screwdriver to try to wedge it in between the channeling and to be able to pull that wire out. You could actually see where that wire actually got rubbed through that channeling, and it pretty much rubbed almost halfway through the wire. After a 2-minute break, it was time to go back to the bus. And by the way, if you guys want a good light, check out the old light Arcfelt Pro. That thing is really bright. Anyways, moving on, I went ahead and started to repair the wire. So what I ended up doing is not only cutting the wire, but also feeding a brand new wire. So this is kind of what I did. So I cut the wire from here, and we're going to be feeding it a new wire because this wire is already rubbed through. And the way that it's works, you can't really remove the roof. So what I'm going to do is going to grab a new piece of wire, cut this one, and then feed the new wire by following the gray wire, if that makes sense. So I grabbed a butt connector, connected the gray and the yellow together, and then I'm going to go ahead and pull the gray wire through, and that's going to feed the new wire into the roof lining. There's really no other way of doing this, so this is the best option for me. Otherwise, I would have to remove like a million rivets, and not only that, the roof is actually a structural piece to the bus, and you would have to get recertified structurally, and I don't want to do that. Once I fed the new wire, I went ahead and butt connected the brake and then also used the heat gun to be able to heat shrink that connector. The heat gun that I'm using in this video is actually from Milwaukee. It's a battery powered heat gun. It works pretty decent, but I will tell you it pretty much decimates batteries. Next was time to put everything back together after the repair, and I went ahead and used a little bit of the wiring loom to protect that wire so it doesn't rub through the channeling, and also went ahead and reinstalled the roof hatch. Once I reinstalled the roof hatch, I went ahead and retested the rear lights, and they still didn't work. What the hell? I started to backtrack and think, did I do something wrong here? So back to the drawing board it is. So I went ahead and re-tapped into that same circuit, and lo and behold, it still says that there's a short. So we went ahead and used the same procedure, but this time our short was more towards the front of the bus and not the rear. So maybe there's a second short in this circuit, and well, this is what I found. The light bulb that I removed earlier in this video was actually causing a short as well. Every time I would install the light bulb and then take it out, the ECT3000 was going from an open to a short, just like in this example right here. So I went ahead and pulled the light out and a bunch of other lights as well just to double check, and this is what I found. I found that the wire was actually touching the housing of the light and was actually shorting out right where the light bulb actually enters. So the receptacle is basically getting shorted out. This was not a big problem as these are pretty easy to fix. So once I fixed it, it was back to the drawing board. I went ahead and turned on the lights and now they work. This is one of those jobs where something that seems pretty simple was actually a lot more complex. And honestly, working on buses and doing electrical work, typically the harness runs throughout the entire bus, which makes it a whole heck of a lot harder because you could have shorts potentially everywhere. All in all, a 5-minute job turned into about a 12-hour job. That was from start to finish, checking all the shorts, tearing the bus apart, repairing, and then putting it all back together and then finding that second short. So yeah, this was a lot harder than it seemed. Anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed. I will leave a link to the Top Dawn infrared camera if you guys are interested, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya.